Today we're going to focus on solving logarithmic equations. And so that is an equation that has a log in it. And there are some different methods, but in most cases, we are going to be converting it to an exponential. And so we've got three different ways that this can be set up. Where the argument is unknown, so you don't know what this is, the only way to free that is to convert it to an exponential. So that's why we do it there. We can look to see if the exponent is unknown. You can convert it to an exponential there and use common base or something similar to solve the exponential. And then the last one, a base is unknown. So we don't know what this is here. And so we go ahead and convert it to an exponential. Then we can take the cube root of both sides or find a common base to get the answer. In most of these equations, we are going to have to use our properties. So remember our quotient property, our product property, and our power property as we go through here. So let's start with this first one. We have log base 5 of 45x minus log base 5 of 3 is equal to 1. Before I can change this to an exponential, I have to have a single log. It needs to be like this to where there is a single log so I can use that definition. So I'm going to have to use my properties here. There is a minus between these two logs that are the same, so I can use my quotient property. So I get the log base 5, and I'm going to divide 45x by 3. It is a minus here, so I convert it to a single by dividing my arguments. Now we're ready to change it to an exponential, so we get 5 to the first power is equal to 45x over 3. Actually, let me go ahead and convert that. 45x divided by 3 is just 15x, so that's going to be a little bit easier to write it. So we have 15x. And so then our last step is to divide by 15. 5 to the first power is just 5, so 5 divided by 15, it gives us 1/3 would be our x. So we have solved that log problem. All right, let's try another one here. In this case, we don't have the same exact log just yet. This is being multiplied by a 3. So we use our power property to bring that up to the exponent. And so we get log base 2 of 8 plus log base 2 of x cubed is equal to 6. Now we have the same exact logs. So we can keep our log base 2. It is separated by a plus, and so we know that's our product property. And it tells us when it's separated by a plus, we can convert it to a single by multiplying these arguments. So we get 8x cubed is equal to 6. Now we're ready to convert it to an exponential. So I get 2 to the 6th power is equal to 8 times x cubed. 2 to the 6th power is 64, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. We can divide by 8 now, and I ran out of space, so I'm going to come over here. 64 divided by 8. Let me write that down so you can see that step I'm taking there. That's going to give us 8 is equal to x cubed. And so we take the cube root of both sides, and so x is 2. So we used our properties to get it to a single log, and then we convert it to an exponential. All right, on our next example here, we've got a log on both sides. So I'm going to start by using the properties as much as possible. So I'm going to take this 2 up here. And so I get log base 3 of x squared. Then I'm going to convert these to a single log, and I do that, it's a plus there, so I'm going to multiply my arguments. And so when I multiply my arguments, 4 times 16 gives me 64. And so now I have the same log, which, whoops, I forgot to write the 3 there. I have the same exact log on both sides of the equation. And so just like when we learned with common base, if we had the same base on both sides, we could set our exponents equal to each other. Same thing here. We can set our arguments equal to each other since they are both the same log. So I get x squared is equal to 64. I take the square root of both sides, and so x is equal to plus or minus 8. Now, I do have to verify that this works because it is the solution for this quadratic. We know that, but we need to make sure that it works up here. In our last lesson, we learned that the base and the argument cannot be equal to 0 or be negative. So when I plug in a -8 right here, it makes this part undefined. So my only solution would be 8. That negative would be an extraneous solution. Make sure you go back and look at those because you don't want to lose points for that. All right, for our next one here, I used my product property because this is separated by a plus. And so I'm always telling you guys, you have to know everything from kindergarten until the day before. And so in this case here, we are multiplying x minus 4 times x plus 2. And so from Algebra 1, you learned that is distribution or foiling. And so we will have to do that as well in order to solve. So here's what we've got. It is a single log now, so I can convert that to my exponential. So I get 3 to the third power. And now I'm ready to go ahead and FOIL that out. So 3 to the third gives me 27, and then I get x squared. We have a negative 4x and a positive 2x, so that's going to give me negative 2x, and negative 4 and 2 gives me a negative 8. I'm going to subtract the 27 to get it to the other side, because anytime we have a squared term and a non-squared term, we want to factor, and we do that by setting it equal to 0. And so we get x squared minus 2x minus 35. Hopefully you're really good at factoring by this point, but you're looking for what multiplies to be negative 35 and adds to be negative 2. And so that is a negative 7 and a positive 5. And so then we get x equals 7 and x equals negative 5. That's what's going to make each one of these 0. Again, I have to go back and verify that that's a solution to the log. It is definitely a solution to the quadratic, but we need to make sure it works up here. When I plug in my 7, that gives me a 3 in the argument here and a 9 in the argument there, which works. However, when I plug in the negative 5 right here, negative 5 minus 4 gives me a negative 9, and we know that the argument cannot be a negative, so that's an extraneous solution. All right, let's go on to our next one here. Again, I want to use my properties in order to simplify this, so I'm going to have log of x plus 1 squared equals the log of x times x plus 3. Now, since there's a log on both sides and it's the same log, I can set them equal to each other. So I get x plus 1 squared is equal to x times x plus 3. Again, we got to know how to FOIL. So x plus 1 squared is the same thing as x plus 1 times x plus 1. When I FOIL or distribute that out, I get x squared plus 2x plus 1. When I distribute here, I get x squared plus 3x. Now, I want to get this set equal to 0. Anytime that you have an x squared and an x, you want to get it set equal to 0. And so I subtract this x squared to get it to the other side, and they cancel on both sides. So I've got 2x plus 1 is equal to 3x. I subtract the 2x, and I get 1 is equal to x. All right, our next one here. This is a very basic one. I'm just looking for the x in the base. I already only have one log, so I can go ahead and take that to our exponential form. So I get 2x squared is equal to 100. Now, the tricky part here for students is that they usually square the x, but they don't realize this entire base is being squared. So that is 4x squared, not 2x squared. So be careful with that. We divide by 4 and we get x squared is equal to 25. And so x is equal to negative 5 and positive 5. If I put a negative 5 here, that's going to make my base incorrect. So that is one of the extraneous solutions. All right, there is 2 for you to try. So go ahead and pause your video, give those a shot and see if you can do them, and then come back and check your work. All right, check your work. Here's what you should have gotten on your 2 to try. They both had extraneous solutions, so make sure you cross both of those out. All right. We have solved a couple of variety of different exponentials and logs, so we want to make sure that you know how to do it. So let's talk about the steps if you come across a problem like this, because on the test, it will not tell you this is what you need to do for this one. There are going to be various different problems, and you just need to be able to solve them. All right, so when I look at this first one, I have 2 to the x plus 2 is equal to 32. 32 can be 2 to the fifth power, so they can both have the same base. So I would solve this using the common base method. All right, for our second one, we have a log base 6 on both sides of the equation. So we want to set the arguments equal to each other. On this third one, again, we've got 4 to the x power equals 32. This is very similar to the first one. 4 can be 2 squared. So again, you can get them to have the same base. So this one too would be a common base. You just have to be able to recognize it. All right, for this next one, the first thing I need to do is use properties. So we want to use properties to make it a single log. Once you've made it a single log, then you can go ahead and use the definition to rewrite as an exponential. All right, for our next one here, we're ready to rewrite this as a log. It is a single exponential on one side already, so rewrite as a log so that you can solve. And then for our last one, again, same thing. You want to rewrite it, but this time they gave you a single log, and so you want to rewrite as an exponential. So make sure that you're looking at and figuring out what method you want to use because there is a variety of these problems. All right, so let's talk about some word problem ones so that you can work those. It says a decibels unit used to measure the loudness of sound. The formula for the loudness of a sound is given by this equation, where dB is the decibel level. The quantity I sub 0 is the intensity of the threshold sound, a sound that can barely be perceived. The quantity I is the number of times more intense a sound is than the threshold sound. The sound in a quiet library is about 1,000 times as intense as the threshold sound. So I is equal to 1,000 I sub 0. Calculate the decibel level of a quiet library. So our decibel level would be equal to 10 log 1,000 I sub 0 over I sub 0. So we're using this equation right here. The I here, it said the sound of a quiet library is about 1,000 times as intense. So we took this and did 1,000 times I sub 0. Now, when we do that, this is going to cancel. So we get 10 times the log of 1,000. And you can put this in the calculator, or you can, this is one of the ones that you can recognize. This is a common log with a base of 10. And we know 1,000 is 10 to the third power. And so log base 10 and 10 cancel and we get 3. So the decibels here would be 30. All right, the sound of a crying baby registers at 115 decibels. How many times more intense is the sound than the threshold sound? So in this case, they gave us the decibels, so we're going to plug that in for this side. And then we have 10 log of I over I sub 0. And so the first thing I do is divide by the 10, and so we get 11.5. And so we can convert this to an exponential now. And so this is the common log, so it's got a base of 10. So that would be 10 to the 11.5 is I over I sub 0. And so we get our last step is to multiply times this I sub 0. We can put 10 to the 11.5 in the calculator. You would get 3.162 times 10 to the 11th power. So that's going to be our scientific notation, and that's going to be multiplied times I sub 0 for the intensity. All right, our last word problem here. The Richter scale measures the magnitude of an earthquake and uses a logarithmic scale with a base of 10. Each increase of 1 on the Richter scale means that there is 10 times the intensity. In other words, a 6 earthquake is 10 times as strong as a 5 earthquake. To determine the intensity of an earthquake, the amount of ground movement, that's what the intensity is, it's the amount of ground movement. Seismologists use the equation below, where m is the magnitude, I is the intensity, and I sub 0 is the minimum intensity. And so for the minimum intensity, we're going to say that's 10 to the negative 4 power. An earthquake in Haiti in 2010 had a magnitude of 7.0, while an earthquake in Chile the same year was a magnitude of 8.8. Compare the intensities of the two earthquakes. All right, so we're going to do each one first so that we can compare them. So for the Haiti one, 7 was its magnitude. And so we get the log of I over 10 to the negative 4 power. We need to convert this to an exponential so that we can free this. This again is the common log, so we're going to get 10 to the 7th power is equal to I over 10 to the negative 4. And so then we multiply or cross multiply. And so we get 10 to the 7th times 10 to the negative 4. Now, if you remember your Algebra 1, when you are multiplying two things with the same base, we add the exponent. So this would be 10 to the 3rd power. So that would be the intensity of our Haiti one. Now for the one in Chile, that was an 8.8. Same process now. We're going to need to convert this to an exponential so that we're freeing it. So we get 10 to the 8.8 is equal to I over 10 to the negative 4 power. I cross multiply and I get I is equal to 10 to the 8.8 times 10 to the negative 4. And so that is 10 to the 4.8. Now, we've got the intensity of both of these, but it wanted us to compare the two to determine how many times more. So we're going to take that 10 to the 4.8 and we're going to divide it by 10 to the 3rd. From Algebra 1, when you're dividing two things with the same base, you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. So it is 10 to the 1.8 powers, 10 to the 1.8 power times more intense. And so if we put that into the calculator, that's about 63 times as intense. All right, they're solving logs.